Hey, what's up guys, Gypsy, and I'm back here today with my semi-finals game for the BBL, and this week we're going to be taking on Blue, aka Perfect Blue, and he is no stranger to the BBL format. He actually won last season of the Bandless Battles League, so yeah, he's definitely a competent player in this kind of semi-Ubers tier, so that should be fun. We didn't get to face in the regular season, but we are faced off here in semis, and he's a really nice guy, and he's drafted a really strong team. Groudon and Zard X really support each other nicely. Groudon providing a Sun for Zard X is pretty insane to check defensively. You can see these here are the 6 I sort of expect him to bring. Cobalion could come, but I feel like Zera is a more likely bring. Clef helps him deal with Laddie and Buzzwole, and Crobat is a pretty nice Buzzwole check, as well as being a ground, his only ground immunity, so I think that's going to be pretty essential for him to bring. I feel like Zera with a mixed set could definitely make an appearance. Plasma Fist, Knockoff, Hidden Power Ice and Fire Punch really just does a number to my team. And then Lele I think can certainly come to wear down my Meginna or my Finny. Yeah, so these are the 6 I expect. Though, like I said, Cobalion could certainly make an appearance. But this is going to be the team that we're rocking with for this semi-finals game. So we're going to kick it off with Meginna here. A pretty bulky win condition. It's just a double dance mage, but really nothing flashier is needed this game. It's got enough bulk to live hits from Specs Lele pretty easily. It can certainly help me take on that Mon. It can set up on stuff like Crobat. It can comfortably take a hit or a +1 life orb hit from Zera and set up a shift gear, outspeeding that if it's like an adamant nature. He doesn't really have any incentive to run a speed boosting nature in this matchup, but like outspeeding, I guess, like slower Scarfers on my team, like Scarf Mage or something, but I feel like he's more than likely going to be an offensive, like attack boosting life orb set if he does bring it. Yeah, certainly a really nice win con, and something I'm going to position in the late game if I can. The next one we have here is my Lando, so this is going to be a defensive, it's like a pseudo Zard check, whilst also being an offensive win con in itself. Double dance with Smackdown. The reason I went Smackdown is mainly I'm kind of concerned about a Balloon Magnet Rise Cobalion, which is really the only thing that can check a Lando. If he's Air Balloon and I already have a Rock Polish up and he does have Magnet Rise, he can obviously check my Lando if I'm not running like Fly. And Smackdown does do a lot to his Crobat, so I think this set can really come in clutch. If I have a Rock Polish up and I need to break his Air Balloon whilst not allowing him to get the Magnet Rise up, I can click Smackdown, which is going to neuter that ineffective. And yeah, this thing is pretty nice. It can live a Life Orb Hidden Power Ice from Zera, which is also pretty important, assuming he's like predominantly physically offensive. And yeah, like I said, a really nice pseudo check to his Zard. The next one we have here is my Spadef Pharaoh, pretty just a blanket Lele check with Oka. Can throw out T-Waves, which nothing on his team appreciates really. Throw out Leech Seeds and get the rocks up. Then I have a very bulky Laddie here. Now Laddie, its bulk is really nice because it helps me take on his Groudon really nicely. Draco obviously nukes the Zard, and it also nukes the Zero Aura. I'm expecting him to be Adamant or Naughty Life Orb knockoff, and I can roostle that a little bit to put it in range of neutral Draco, which can finish that thing off. And Calm Mind variants can beat non-Calm Mind Magic Guard variants of Clef, with the bulk that I have and with Calm Mind and Psychic obviously. If he's unaware, it doesn't really matter if I'm offensive Calm Mind. I won't be able to take on his Clef if he's running like a Spadef set. And I do have things that can capitalize on a bulky Clef like that, like my Meginna and my Ho-Oh and my Ferrothorn. So yeah, pretty nice Mon. It can comfortably take anything from Groudon. It can take a Dragon Claw if I need to. And if he's like offensive Dragon Claw, he's probably not going to be that bulky, so we won't be appreciating repeated Psychics and Dracos. So yeah, that's my Laddie. Pretty nice here. Is able to check his Cobalion nicely as well. Then I have my Finny here. Now this Finny is it's kind of a weird set, but it's designed to take on Zard. I can always come in. I can live like SD Thunder Punch with my Wakan Berry. Comfortably I can live like +4 I think. As long as rocks aren't up, I believe that's the cap. And I can always get a Reflect off versus the Zard, as well as taunting it. And Reflect allows my Lando, in conjunction with Intimidate, to kind of set up on Zard, or at least to scare it out, and that might provide a pretty good opportunity for my my Lando to set up a Rock Polish. It also eases beginners setup opportunities versus stuff like Groudon, for example, because I can live with Precipice Blades with the Reflect up, and is just really useful for the rest of my team. It does appreciate having the Reflect up. Scald, obviously, just a blanket move with Taunt. Taunt plus Scald can beat Clef if he's like a Carmine variant. If he's lefty, he's a bit harder because he's getting a passive recovery, but Scald is the sort of the most splashable moves that still allows me to hit Crobat, potentially burn that thing, which is going to be really useful. Defog, obviously, there to support the last one of my team in Ho-Oh, and Ho-Oh is a defensive Wakan set. So yeah, last week we brought the Flame Charge weakness policy set, but this week I wanted a like another backup check to Zard, as well as a way of luring Zeraora. This Ho-Oh takes like 40 to 47 from Adamant or Naughty Life or Plasma Fist with the Wakan Berry, which is really useful. It also takes Thunder Punches from Zard effortlessly, which is really nice. I am expecting Thunder Punch because of my Finny. It's just a really nice check to a Zard. Otherwise, if I'm like a Carmine Finny, even like a Double Dance Finny, I can check his Zard pretty decently. But yeah, this Ho-Oh, a really nice kind of blanket check to his Zard. I can throw out Toxics, which is useful for the Groudon and the Zard, which are the likely switch-ins to my Ho-Oh, so that's pretty useful. And yeah, Ho-Oh is just a really, really nice defensive mon. It can take a hit from Lele, like Specs Lele, it can take a hit thanks to its natural bulk if I need to. Get off a powerful Sacred Fire. So yeah, that's going to be the team. We're going to pause it here and jump into the match and see how it went. Alright guys, so we're here with a game up against Blue, and as you can see we're playing on Showdown. We could not connect on Wi-Fi, unfortunately. I think there was some issues on Blue's side with the internet, but that's all good. We're going to be playing this on Showdown, and as you guys can see, Blue opted to bring a very similar team to what I kind of spoke about in the team breakdown earlier in this video. He did bring the Cavalion, which I thought had a good chance to come, but could be something else in place of that. Nonetheless, he has brought a very offensive team. I'm assuming he's going to be something like Rock's Groudon or Rock's Cavalion, and Clef will be more either like a boosting set or like some kind of Wish Protect, unaware kind of variant. Lele, a bit of a wild card. Zard X is going to be either SD, T-Punch, or he's going to be Dragon Dance Roost, probably. And then, yeah, his Crobat makes sense as a pretty good obligatory Buzzwole kind of check. And it can be a bit of an annoyance depending on its set to my defensive core. So we're going to jump into the match and see how it goes. I'm going to lead off with my laddie here as he leads off with his Cavalion. Cavalion would have been a fantastic lead versus my Pharaoh if I led with that. If I lead Ho-Oh and he's like Stone Edge or something, that's going to hurt. It also would have covered my Lando if he's Taunt or something like that, or Shuka. But either way, Laddie covered his leads really nicely. The only thing it led poorly versus was the Lele and the Clef to an extent, but I didn't feel like he'd lead with either of those. Factoring in my team, I felt like Cavalion was far safer of a lead, and this immediately gives me a Psychic turn 1, as he's going to go hard out to his Clef. And Psychic's going to do a nice chunk, but he does take that well, so he's obviously like a mixed defensive Clef based on that damage. My Ho is going to come in here and chew that up pretty comfortably and just fire off a Sacred Fire this turn. So I go for Sacred Fire. He actually reveals that Protect, which tells me that he's more than likely Wish Teched. He's going to be unaware Clef on this team. I'm going to fire for Sacred Fire first in case he wants to go out into his Groudon. And the fact that he reveals Protect here encourages me this turn to just go for Toxic. If he wants to go into his Zard, I put that thing on a timer, and if he stays in with Clef, I put this on a timer. And if he's not Heal Bell, that is going to pretty much neuter his Clef. Useless in this game as any kind of unaware check. So he's now going to go back out to his Zard. I get a nice 27% off on that, revealing that he's pretty bulky based on how well he took that Sacred Fire. So this is nice. We're getting chip, and I am Wakan on this Ho-Oh, so I'm just going to fire for Toxic here, not fearing a T-Punch coming my way, as he does go out into his Lele here. So this is really nice. I'm not going to stay in here. Ho-Oh is like amazing in this game, so yeah, I'm not going to risk him being like Spec Psyshock here, or Specs Thunder or something like that. I'm going to switch into my Pharaoh and get that nice regen back on my Ho-Oh, as he does reveal to be Life Orb actually, and this is really nice. Even if he is hidden Power Fire, I do have the Aqua Berry, so I'm just going to stay in and throw away Leech Seeds. I considered Rocks, but it's better for me that I keep Rocks off the field, given how good Ho-Oh is here, versus getting Rocks up and crippling his Zard, because I got pretty nice counterplay to Zard, and it's already chipped. I'd rather neuter whatever wants to come in, maybe chip down the Groudon, the Cobalion. I went for Leech Seed over T-Wave because if he went Groudon here, which would have been a pretty fine play to set rocks of his own or just fire up a fire attack, I would have got leech damage off on that and could have just gone hard out into either my Lando or my Laddie on his Groudon with the Leech Seed recovery. But he does go into his Crobat here, and this turn I'm going to fire off the T-Wave as he does reveal Taunt, so he's Taunt Bat. And it does reveal Black Sludge, so he's more of a defensive variant. Kind of makes sense based on me having Buzzwole and Lando and stuff like that. So yeah, he's going to reveal Taunt. He's going to have Taunt Roost, potentially Brave Bird. He might have Heat Wave or something like that, or Super Fang at this point. I'm not really sure. Either way, I am going to double out. Just hard switch out to my Lando here with the Leech up on Crobat and the Intimidate off. Lando had a pretty nice opportunity there to set up in the face of Crobat if he was scared out, but he actually makes a switch himself out into Cobalion. Lando also covered Cobalion because with Ferro in on Crobat Taunted, there's not a ton that Ferro can do to a Cobalion. Like, he lost nothing there by going hard Cobalion or hard Zard, so me switching out to Lando maintained the most momentum I could that turn. Apart from maybe going Ho-Oh or Laddie, but either way, Lando threatens Zard and Cobalion respectively and gets the Intimidate drop on both, which is really useful. So he's going to go for the Taunt here on my Lando as I just attempt to go for the Rock Polish. Rock Polish, like, I didn't think he'd sack this off, and if he was like a Sugar Berry and he went for Hidden Power or something like that, I got the Rock Polish up and took the hit pretty well anyway. But he's just going to go for the Taunt, and that's going to be really nice. He's going to be Taunt Toxic, so this is a cool Cobalion set, and he's going to take a ton from this EQ though. He's not going to take it very well. He's not Sugar or anything like that, so this turn he's going to go back out into his bat. And I'm just going to switch Lando out here. I don't want to play like Roost games with Crobat here. So I'm going to go hard out into my Ho-Oh as he actually reveals Super Fang, and that's going to be a really nice way of wearing down my fat. Yeah, I'm going to fire for Sacred Fire and do a nice chunk here. 43, so this is like a very defensive Crobat. I'm going to do some switching to get some health back onto my Ho-Oh. And this turn I'm just going to fire for Psychic because he doesn't want to stay in with his Crobat. He doesn't want to risk that thing obviously dying. Crobat's actually pretty nice for him. It's one of his best ways of not getting destroyed by Lando. So he's going to want to keep that thing healthy. And he's going to now go back into his Lele here, just take the Psychic. And he takes a nice chunk from that, so next time he comes in on a Psychic, he won't be able to take 2, which is really nice. I know he's not Scarfed, he's Life Orb, so he's going to go for Draining Kiss here. I don't know, Draining Kiss, interesting move. I think maybe like Blue really had to predict there and expect me to either go Ho-Oh or Ferro there. I think Draining Kiss was maybe a bit of a misplay on his part, just because I wasn't really going to stay in with my Laddie, and if I did stay in, I was clicking Shadow Ball, which would have killed from that range. So I think I don't know. I think Draining Kiss was a bit of a poor decision there, but as it did, allow my Ferro in so safely. And this turn I can just throw my rocks up as Lele's going to die to Life Orb, Recall, and Toxic damage anyway, so I may as well get something out of the turn here, as it will put pressure on his Crobat and his Zard. And this is actually really nice because if this thing is like a mono Super Fang carrying like Taunt, Roost, and Defog, then if I get a T-Wave off on this thing as he Roosts or Defogs, my Laddie will always be able to recover up on it, and so will my Ho-Oh. So I'm just going to fire for T-Wave here as he does Roost up. And this turn I'm going to switch out now into my Laddie, which if he does choose the Defog here, I will be able to get a nice Roost up, bringing Laddie back up to a nice amount of health. So he does choose the Defog there, getting his Zard back in the clear, as he's going to bring in his Groudon here. And I'm just going to stand and Psychic, because this Laddie is designed to be able to take on Groudon. It can, stomach hits from it pretty nicely with its bulk investment, and just wear it down for Magina and the rest of my team. So he's going to go for the Overheat here, and this is going to do 16%. So that's actually brave. That's brave Overheat from his Groudon. He's not invested, but he's not like minus special attack nature, I don't think. I'm pretty sure that's brave, because it's in the sun as well. So he's now going to switch back out into his Clef, and he's actually going to get a Spadef drop here, which really is unfortunate for Blue, because this means that without the Spadef drop, I would have needed like a really high roll if it was even a roll to take out Claire from 42, and I probably wouldn't have risked it there. So it would have meant he didn't need to sack off another Mon, which now he's going to have to sack off Crobat. So that kind of sucked for blue. I think it kind of just sped up this end game here, but it's yeah, obviously not what you want to see in a kind of playoff game. So he's going to go for the protect here as I go hard into my Throw. I know he's not carrying flame coverage, so I'm just going to throw my rocks back up here. As this turn he's going to go into Zard. Now this turn I'm going to go into Finny, obviously covering the Flare Blitz, but more importantly taunting this Zard and getting up my Reflect, which is going to aid the rest of my team. So he's just going to go for the Flare Blitz here, and that's going to do pretty little to Finny. He's going to take that recoil, and he's going to reveal Roost, so he's like a bulkier Roost Flare Blitz set. He could be SD, he could be DD, or he could be like 3 attacks Roost. All things to consider here. So this turn I am going to fire off the taunt on his Cobalion, as I just expected him to stay in with Zard and try and set up on Finny, but he's going to reveal the Z Gigavolt Havoc, which is a nice tech, I guess, a nice way of weakening down my Finny, and my Ho-Oh too, I guess, even though it would kind of bounce off Ho-Oh. So it does, I mean, it does a good chunk, does 30% through the Wakan, so it would have done a lot if I didn't have the Wakan Berry, but the Wakan coming through originally aimed at checking the Zard, but definitely helped me there with the Cobalion. So he's going to go into his Zard here, as I am just going to taunt this turn, and he's going to set up 1 DD, but this is going to prevent him from getting out of control. So yeah, I'm just going to click Moonblast here. No Scald, like carrying Scald this game. So yeah, Zard's going to be pretty nicely chipped. He's almost in range of rocks actually, so if he takes any damage from Flare Blitz, he's going to go down here to the recoil. So he does actually choose the Flare Blitz, and this activates my berry, putting me back to a nice amount as I just click EQ there in case he wanted to DD. No, he couldn't even DD because he was taunted, but EQ covered a switch there if he wanted to preserve health on Zard. So yeah, I'm going to go into my Lando and just click EQ as he brings in Clef, and that thing just drops. So yeah, Lando's really strong. And that was, I think, more of a mixed defensive Clef. It wasn't primarily physically defensive or anything. As now I'm going to switch out into my Ho. I want to preserve Lando to get an Intimidate drop on this Groudon if I can. Because if I can get an Intimidate drop on this, he can't actually kill Ho from full. So if I can get regen enough, get Ho-Oh's health back to enough with regen, I'll actually be able to live a hit from full and just fire for Sunburst to Sacred Fire. But honestly, Laddie already like 1v1s this Groudon, so it's not really a big deal, but covering my outs in case he crits me with like Dragon Claw or something like that. So gonna pivot into my Magina and then back out into my Ho, get that nice regen back as he goes for the overheat again. That does 7, and yeah, we're gonna go back into gear, and he is gonna go for the edge once again. And this turn I just decide to just stay in and click Z Fluid Cannon, as he does actually like make the Precipice Blades play there, but unfortunately he's going to miss, so that just sped it up. I'm going to let him kill Magina here, and Laddie is going to come in and finish it off with a Psychic. So yeah, that's going to be my playoffs game versus blue. Definitely a fun one. He had a really rough Magina matchup, and he ended up bringing Assault vs Groudon, actually, based on how well it was taking Psychics from Laddie. I kind of determined that when we were playing, but yeah, I think blue prepped as well as he could for this game. It was pretty rough, pretty rough in terms of Magina. Though, yeah, prepping for Zard in Sun is equally just disgusting to prep for. So yeah, I was glad to see Finny kind of came through there, and Lando's Berry turned out to be pretty effective. So yeah, it's going to be my playoff game versus blue. Shout out to the blue for the great season. He actually won BBL last season, and he made it again to playoffs this season. So yeah, big shout out to the blue. Good game to you, man. Hopefully we can play again, maybe in BBL again or in another league. But yeah, this ends playoffs. Next we actually advance onto the finals, in which we'll play Panther, who ended up beating his opponent. I forget who he played, but he won pretty convincingly, I think. And we're on to finals up against Panther, so that should be a good one. I did face Panther last time in APA finals, back in Little Cup, so that was pretty hype. So we've gone from Little Cup to Ubers, so it's quite the jump there. But yeah, it should be fun. Look out for that. That'll be going up over the next couple of days. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of the video, and yeah, I'll catch you next time.